Hi, I'm Randy. I'm Scott's father, and this is my interview.
Um, so Dad, I've asked this to Mom and Sonia. Did you suspect anything regarding my sexuality?
I would have to say no. I had no idea at all in terms of you being homosexual, none whatsoever. It was a, it, it would have been it was a complete shock.
Okay. When I told you that I was gay, when the words came out of my mouth, I'm gay, what was the first thing that went through your mind? What was going through your mind?
Well, that's interesting because of the circumstances. I'm going to contradict myself a little bit on this answer to some degree, but only in this sense. When you had called us into the room and you said you had something important to tell us, I was thinking that it was obviously something very grave, and I wasn't sure what we were facing, and it was almost a relief when you said that you were gay. And in hindsight, of course, is always 2020, but in thinking back to you growing up and having a son already and having had that experience with a son already growing up, and becoming an adult or a teenager, um, it, it it wasn't when I thought about it in retrospect, it wasn't as surprising when you came out as well because there were differences. Although there were a lot of similarities between you and your brother, there were differences just in your approach, in your discussions with me, and how you viewed someone. I always remember uh, wondering why there wasn't more of an attraction because of one of your childhood friends who was a girl, and you guys played together when we were neighbors for hours and hours, and I was wondering why there was never anything more that I saw in you in relation to her. And in retrospect, when you came out, that became very clear that as to why you didn't see her that way. You saw her only as a very good friend, which is fine.
Okay. What was the first negative thought that went through your mind?
That's a difficult question. I mean, when like I say, it was a relief knowing that it wasn't something worse than that, although many people might consider that to be a really bad thing. Uh, I suppose a negative thing would have been, of course, it creeps into your head. Okay, well, now I'm not going to have any grandchildren, but that's not from Scott, but that's not necessarily the only negative thing. For you, it was I always envisioned you with some kind of Amazonian athletic woman, and you would produce these fantastic athletes uh, that I could watch play sports, and that doesn't mean you won't have children, but that was a negative thing. Okay, the other negative thing uh, is that I was thinking this is not my son, but that wasn't the reality. That's just an emotion kicking in and being shocked now after being relieved and then being shocked by the whole situation and changing my perception of you in that sense. But it didn't change the way I felt about you. It it's like when you're it's not I don't want to say when your child disappoints you because it certainly wasn't a disappointment or in that sense, um, but it's when your perception of somebody changes. It's that kind of adjustment period that I had to go through. And I have a little anecdotal story too that you don't even know about. But I remember a couple of days, because that was during softball season, I think, that you came out, if I recall.
Yeah.
And a couple of days later, I was, I think, your coach or one of the coaches, and we went to practice on a Saturday. And I remember that was the first time I've sort of saw you interacting with other young men and that where I was there and I was interacting with everybody where I knew you were gay, and it was it was kind of a cold water in the face kind of wake up. Okay, but nothing. There was no label on you. There was no sign saying, "Hey, my son is gay," or sign on me, or anything like that. But it was just sort of that adjustment. And I remember that in particular, walking to the Diamond and saying, okay, that's when I sort of came to the realization too that this is not about me. This is about you. And this was nothing has changed for you because you are who you are. And I know the person that you are and the person that I love. And so that was uh, kind of the point. I would say the first point when I said, okay, I have a gay son. I have a son who's gay as opposed to a gay son. Uh, but that's it. That
So how has this changed the outlook um, on our family?
well, our family's reaction to this has been actually quite a source of pride for me. Not just our immediate family, but our extended family as well. But in terms of our immediate family, has is it other than maybe our thoughts of kind of the traditional family where you'd have be married to somebody uh, female and have little kids, little athletes running around, and all the kids mixing together and all that. That's the only change, but that's a perceptional change. It, it, so, it, now when we have family gatherings and you have a significant other, he's going to be an athletic kind of, a Rafael Nadal kind of looking guy, I expect, something like that. and, and so that's, our family has been so accepting, and your brother and sister love you, and your mother loves you, and there's not going to be a change in that sense.